Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Mnemonic Tutor here with a new video about the TurboGrafx-16 Mini. Don't forget to like this video, comment, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon to get notified when I drop new videos. So, is the TurboGrafx-16 Mini worth buying? Let's dive in and find out. So let's start out by discussing what the TurboGrafx-16 was and what the Mini is. And while that's going on, I'm going to cycle through the game list in the background so that you can see what it is without taking up a bunch of time talking about it. If you want to see the full list of the 57/58 games, you can see them on Wikipedia. The next section I'm going to talk about actually came from Wikipedia, which is the history of the TurboGrafx-16 and what the Mini is. The TurboGrafx-16, known in Japan and France as the PC Engine, was a cartridge-based home video game console manufactured and marketed by NEC Home Electronics and designed by Hudson Soft. It was released in Japan on October 30th, 1987, and the United States on August 29th, 1989. It was the first console released in the 16-bit era, although it used a modified 8-bit CPU. The TurboGrafx-16 Mini, the newer console, is a dedicated home video game console by Konami, modeled on NEC's TurboGrafx-16, which was designed by Hudson Soft, a video game developer which Konami acquired in 2012. The Mini emulates the original console's 16-bit hardware. The Japanese model contains 58 games total, while the international models contain 57. International here being everything but Japan, so that includes the US, the EU, etc. The Mini was originally set to release worldwide on March 19th, 2020 exclusively through Amazon. I did pre-order it, however it was indefinitely delayed everywhere except for Japan due to production delays caused by the coronavirus pandemic. It was shipped in North America on May 22nd, 2020. I just got it a few days ago, and that's why we're doing this video. So as you can see, we've already got some gameplay footage going in the background, and I'm just going to keep letting that go while we discuss the overall experience here before we get into the conclusion of whether or not it's worth buying. Now, I never had the original TurboGrafx-16, and I have a feeling that a lot of people didn't because the console kind of flopped in the US for various reasons, but the Mini is a little bit different, and I'll get into that as we kind of discuss here the overall experience. So this experience was brand new for me. Never played on this console, so I wasn't used to the controller. It's a lot like an NES controller, 2 buttons and a D-pad. It does have some turbo buttons, and man did those come in handy, so we'll talk about that later. Now, the packaging is generic, but it suffices. You know, it's the typical brightly decorated outside box with, you know, just cardboard inserts and nothing fantastic, but it's well protected, and it does look nice on a shelf if you collect these type of things. The hardware itself, it does feel very light, but it's solid. So it's not, you know, it doesn't exude quality like some of the high-end retro machines do, but it also doesn't feel like cheap, you know, knockoff junk. It feels solid and it looks great. The controller again is full size, so it's awesome. And the cord is very long. I don't know, I didn't measure it exactly, but I'm gonna guess it's somewhere between 6 and 10 feet long. I know that's a big gap there, but probably around 10 feet acceptable. I was playing this through the Elgato Capture device on the Elgato Capture software itself and playing it like that. I didn't even have it going to the TV where I could kind of, you know, get a faster response. I was doing it through the Elgato, and the Elgato claims that it's instant response, but there is a little bit of lag there. And even with that, I was playing all these games just fine, right? The lag was imperceptible. It was there, right? You can tell there's a little bit of lag because it's emulated, but it wasn't like it was affecting my gameplay is what I'm getting at. Now, the selection of games is great. I'm just showing a few here. I did play through all of them just to kind of figure out if the games were good or not, and they are great. I realize some of the iconic ones are missing, at least according to what I read online, and that's going to be the case with any of these Mini type of units, right? And it's not because Konami or, you know, Hudson Soft, NEC, whoever, Konami is the one that put this Mini out. It's not because they don't want to put the games on there. It's licensing. A lot of these licensing deals for these games expired a long time ago, and or the companies are defunct and they can't get, you know, a new licensing agreement with them. And, you know, in order to keep themselves out of lawsuits, they don't want to put stuff on there that they don't have a current licensing deal for. That's also the reason some of the games are in English with the correct licensing with them, but a lot of them are in Japanese because the licensing for those obviously still exists, and they don't have, and or they don't have English ports, right? So keep that in mind. Not all the games are in English. However, a lot of them are able to, especially the shoot 'em ups, are able to be played regardless of what the language is. So that's a great thing. So overall, I would say the experience was good. It's a very solid plug-and-play gameplay experience, and that's going to play into the conclusion that I'm going to get to in a second of whether or not this is worth buying. Because I think that's ultimately what you're here watching this video for, right? Is this thing worth shelling out 99 or 100 bucks or whatever it is right now, or not, right? And I think that's a valid question to have. And it's also going to matter whether or not you had this originally when it first came out and you're trying to, go back and replay for nostalgia reasons, or you never had it and you just kind of want to experience what it was like to play on this system with a lot of arcade ports that were better than what you were getting on the other systems around at the time. Just a quick reminder, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell icon to get notified when I release new videos. So, is it worth buying the TurboGrafx-16 Mini? Tell me what you think about the Mini in the comments below and whether you think it's worth buying or not, but I'm going to give you my opinion on whether or not it's worth buying. And like many things in the gaming world, it depends. And it's not a cop-out. I'm going to give you the scenarios for where it actually is worth it and the scenario where it's not, okay? So for the person who just wants a plug-and-play experience to play the original games, this is a great buy. It is worth buying. Again, you're someone who just wants to plug it up to a TV and go. You don't want to mess around with stuff. You don't want to be looking for, old games, consoles, controllers, figuring out how to get this thing into a modern HDMI format, etc. You just want to play and go. This is a great experience. It is worth buying. It's a well-rounded package at what I consider a reasonable price. And I realize that $100 is kind of expensive for what it is, but it's a reasonable price for the number of games you're getting and the quality of the unit itself. The experience is both fun and nostalgic. So again, for that person, it's absolutely worth buying. Now, if you're a tinkerer, right, and you're willing to do a proper Raspberry Pi build, then you can get a much deeper retro gaming experience by installing like RetroPie on either a Raspberry Pi 3 or Raspberry Pi 4 for the same amount of money. There are some things you're going to have to take into account though. You're going to have to find the ROMs for the thing. You're going to have to buy the Raspberry Pi. You're going to have to buy the case for it if you want to run a case on it. You're going to have to buy the power supply. You're going to have to buy a micro SD card. You have to configure and set everything up, and then comes the controllers. Sure, you can get one modern controller and then use it for even the older consoles, but it's not the same as playing on a controller that was designed for that console. So there's a lot involved there, but I think dollar-wise, you're going to end up with a much better experience or a much broader experience for the same amount of money. Okay, but again, that's if you're a tinkerer. So at the end of the day, what I think is the TurboGrafx-16 Mini, for most people, is worth it to buy, right? Unless you're a hardcore tinkerer that does emulation already and understands how all this stuff works and can configure it, set it up, troubleshoot it when stuff doesn't want to work, edit configuration files, all that kind of stuff. If you're that person, this may not be for you. But if you're the average gamer and you just want to plug this thing in and go, it's absolutely worth it. If you wait a while though, the price should come down like it did for the PS1 Mini and the Genesis Mini, and I think the other minis as well over time went down, but I'm not 100% sure. The Nintendo stuff kind of holds value, but the PS1 obviously was not a great effort. However, the hacking scene has made it a much better unit now than what it was when it launched, but that price came, I think I picked one up for maybe $20, and that thing I think also released for around $100. I don't remember exactly anymore. But if you want this and you want to wait a while, the price should come down relatively quickly. Usually these units, places like Amazon don't want to hold on to them for a long time. So you could probably pick it up for, $60, $50 in a couple of months here. Again, I will leave an Amazon affiliate link in the description to buy this if you want to. Those affiliate links give me a kickback, but it doesn't cost you any more than it normally would to buy it from Amazon, so it just helps the channel out. So let me know what you think about the TurboGrafx-16 Mini in the comments below, and I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.